Emotional support for people of interest is provided by Beyoncé. She's so real, and that's what keeps us going.
After an unprecedented 15 years, Harriet Trachtenberg, the first female head of the U.S. Bureau of Cool Handshakes, High Fives, and Hugs, is stepping down. Appointed in 1998 during the Clinton administration, Trachtenberg oversaw an explosion of cool new greetings, most notably the fist bump, and then later, the blow-it-up fist bump. Trachtenberg's biggest legacy, however, will probably be her instrumental role in creating the bro hug, that combined cool handshakes into a hug that men could use to express their affection for another man without getting weird. I've asked Secretary Trachtenberg here today to reflect on some of her achievements throughout her illustrious career. Harriet Trachtenberg, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much, Jen, for having me. I'd like to open up with a little bro hug, if that's okay with you.
I'd be honored. Now, what was the genesis of that?
The genesis of the bro hug?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it started back when I was going through my years in college, and I was in a sorority, and I would, when the girls and I would go around and check out the frat houses, I noticed something very peculiar. And I was doing the studies of social interaction at this point. I went to NYU's Gallatin School of Individualized Studies, so I was able to create my own major.
Right.
And I did the concentration of social interaction. And I was able to go into these parties and look at how people were interacting. And I noticed that at this point, if you had two males who were friendly with each other, if they wanted to hug each other, they were labeled gay. And
Yes.
not to be homophobic, none of them were homophobic. There was
Sure.
nothing against
But it's just
the
bad
LGBT.
press.
Yeah, but they were just bros.
Right.
So, but the handshake was too formal. They didn't want to seem icy or cold, so I saw this dilemma. And I was like, guys, got a great idea. Come over here. My friend Ted Gardner, never forget him. I was like, Ted, check this out. Give me your hand. And I grabbed his hand, brought him in, patted him on the back, and he was like, Harriet, wow, what a woman. And I got a couple nicknames off of that one.
Really? It's interesting as what?
I got Twisted System. This is because I would also do these twisting moves where this one didn't catch on as much. I was a fan.
Sure.
But we go into a handshake and then they'd spin me like a ballerina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was great. I had longer hair back then, so it just kind of flew around like a beautiful helicopter.
Right, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't work with everyone.
Yeah, they also called me Choppa Mama because I looked like a helicopter
Oh, of course.
when I flew around.
Those are the days. Huh?
Yeah.
Now, tell us, obviously we know a lot of your most famous handshakes, like this ballerina. What are some of the ones that just didn't get off the ground?
The leapfrog really didn't take off. The problem, you needed a hard surface
Yeah.
to really get it going. You'd have one hand down, someone would smack their hand over, and you just keep going until you ran out of space. The idea was to take up as much of the room as possible. And I experimented this one at a party, and drinks spilled.
Wow.
People were upset. I had to leave. I was trying to high five them on the way out, and they weren't. So leapfrog, I think, was definitely the most embarrassing of my downfalls.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you're so willing to take them out into public. I assume you would just keep them in the lab, but you really have always been, the people going out, trying them out before they're even ready.
Oh, of course, because these days you never know what's really gonna catch. Is what I figured out is that you don't really know until you've tried it out. Because I could think something is cool.
Yeah.
And someone else could not. That's the problem. People ask me, Harriet, what's your favorite kind of music? I say, I like everything. I like all kinds of music. Because if you're like, I really like Miley Cyrus's new album, Bangers, you're gonna get all these looks. So I don't tell people flat out.
Sure.
You gotta give like the eye. You like this song too? All right, yeah, I jam to it. So with the high fives, it's the same thing. Where I thought the leapfrog handshake was so much fun. I used to leapfrog all the time with my brother.
Yeah.
But then you take it, and so I would have deemed that one ready day one in the lab.
Right.
Take it to a party, it's a no-go.
Wow, that is. So interesting.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that has been big, obviously, you're the first female head.
Yes, I was.
But there's a lot of women that you've looked up to over the years who have been in the department, never got to secretary. I'm thinking of Tera Demi, who invented the high five.
Oh, what a woman! Yeah.
Is she like? She must be a big inspiration for you.
I had a poster of Tera Demi in my office.
Really?
Yeah, I had a poster of her, and on the bottom, like the poster, the way it was a hand, and you could pop it out and inflate it.
Oh wow!
It was an interactive one. I was so stoked to get it for my birthday, and I put it up on my wall. And every time I walk in, if I was having a bad Monday, just high five it.
Wow.
And it like really, and a lot of times I'd be standing there like, Harriet, like what handshake you're gonna do next? And I just stand there, just keep high fiving until something came to me. And sometimes it just come, and I gotta thank Tara for that. Whether we've interacted at through email exchange and at cocktail parties. But I've always been a little shy to tell her that I have a poster of her in my office. But
Now, I would assume that this high five poster, is that what led you to adding high fives into handshakes?
Yeah, I think really it was partially that and partially the acoustics of it.
Really?
Yeah, I decided when I was in college just to why not? I'll take a music class just because you can never get enough of that.
Sure, our requirement too, I assume.
Yeah, not a requirement, of course. And so I was walking around Washington Square Park, and my music assignment was to create a way to make a song with as minimal instruments as possible. And so people were talking about like one guitar string or something, and I saw this step crew, and they were stomping and clapping, and I realized how beautiful the clapping sounds when isolated and controlled. Not just like the random applause,
right,
but like with timing. And so like the double slap or the slide slap, like even like, and that slap, that sliding sound really has a different acoustic, has a different frequency than you really would think. And that sound, I did a minimal study where I did the feelings of one another that you might have to another person after hearing certain sounds. And the clapping just made it like a more energized, people have like a more of an adrenaline rush.
Right.
Their blood pressure was raised after hearing the clapping sounds than just the kind of a sedentary, just solid handshake. So, why do you think everyone runs out when they run out to a sports game, they're giving high fives on both sounds? That clapping sound is exhilarating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you think to put that with a handshake? Specifically, handshakes had always been sort of separate from fun. They were very formal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were very involved in the power handshake of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And you were actually interning at the time, but...
advocating, I know how many protests I went against the limp handshake.
Yeah.
Holy now. Wow, like what am I holding?
Yeah.
A noodle?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
The
wow.
worst.
So we were really, I did a lot of sit-ins against that in public spaces. And a lot of just active handshaking, just going around giving people solid handshakes. Gotta be careful people wearing rings though. Put that one out for everyone. You can really squeeze it and it's painful.
Yes.
Yeah, but really just the solid handshake is what really kind of got me into it. And I realized, why does every interaction have to be so solid, so straightforward? Where's the fun? Where's the experimenting? I'm not gonna, the Inuit have different words for snow.
Yes. Yeah.
So, because, and the French are something like that. They have different words for love. There's different ways you can love something.
Right.
The way that I love my mom, or the way that I talk about snow or love can be different on how I feel about it. And it's a different word. So if I give a handshake to my mom and I give a handshake to my boss, why are they going to be the same? I don't love my boss the same way I love my mom.
Right.
So I'm going to give them more personalized handshakes.
Sure. And of course your boss, Barack Obama. Obama. I'm sure you have a great handshake.
Oh, solid.
Because I know each president gets their own private handshake.
Barack Obama, I gotta say, has always been a fan of the hit me high, hit me low.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of times, sometimes I'll just walk around. If I know where he is, if I know what sector of the house he's in, I'll just walk around trying to catch him while we're walking, and we'll just 1, 2 as we go by. It's so fluid. And sometimes we'll do 1, 2, turn around, gotcha, and we'll do a little, pow, 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 and the first person to run out of breath saying pow loses. It's a great game. It's great come around.
Wow, that's fantastic. Harriet, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Actual support for People of Interest is brought to you by Philly Improv Theater, Philly's home for comedy. In addition to shows every week of the year, PHIT offers classes in improv, sketch, and stand-up. For more information, visit phillyimprovtheater.com.